Do not underestimate how many things could go wrong if you start dropshipping. In fact, because dropshipping is so simple, most people rush into it without realizing that there are many mistakes you can make that can temporarily or even permanently derail you. In this video, I'll cover 15 of them and how you can easily avoid them. Any one of the 15 mistakes I'm going to cover today, especially the last one, can totally ruin dropshipping for you. So make sure to stick around for all of them. But it's this first one that's probably the most common problem that I see people making, which is that many dropshippers try to sell products on their own website as opposed to selling on a marketplace like eBay or Facebook Marketplace. And you see this most commonly with people who start Shopify dropshipping. Now, admittedly, there are a lot of benefits to owning your own website and drop shipping on there. In fact, I have a lot of friends who have made a lot of money doing that. But I know far more people who have tried Shopify dropshipping and have totally failed at it. That's because that type of dropshipping requires you to build a website, buy a domain, pick one single product to sell, and then pay for advertising to get people to visit your website and hopefully buy from you. It's extremely difficult to get it right, and most people fail at it, and they waste a lot of money in the process. If you sell on a marketplace, on the other hand, you can sell on an existing website that already has a lot of customers, and you never have to pay for a single ad. It's much more beginner friendly, which is why I always recommend that new sellers start dropshipping on a marketplace like eBay or Facebook Marketplace. The second mistake that is guaranteed to result in failure for you is if you don't believe that you can be successful at dropshipping. Now, hear me out here, because I promise you I'm not gonna get too woo-woo with you here. If you start dropshipping with the belief that you're not going to be successful, then you are not going to give it your all. You're not gonna put in the work that is needed to be successful. You're gonna think to yourself, what is the point of even trying when I know this isn't going to work for me? And of course, if you have that attitude, you're going to fail. But let's look at this a bit more objectively. We know other people have been successful with dropshipping. For example, here on the screen, I'm showing you some of my students' results with this dropshipping system. Now, these are ordinary, regular people just like you. I'm sure many of them had a lot of doubts about whether they could do this successfully, but they took action anyway. And that's what you need to do as well, because without action, failure is guaranteed. These other ordinary people, they were successful at this. So why can't you be successful as well? But it all starts up here. Once you realize that success is inevitable for you, you'll stop looking for excuses to quit or to not even get started, and you'll find ways to conquer every single obstacle. So that's the second mistake to avoid. Stop believing that you're going to fail and start believing in yourself. The third mistake that I see a lot of new sellers make is that they list too many items too quickly. And I get it. You're really excited to start dropshipping and you want to give this everything you've got. So you jump onto the marketplace, sign up for an account, and just start listing and listing and listing. There are a few problems with that though. First of all, these marketplaces don't want you to spam list a lot of items right away after you sign up for a new account. They don't know who you are. You could be going onto eBay or wherever to list up a bunch of junky items, or you could be trying to scam customers, or you might just be really bad at customer service. In other words, you need to prove to the marketplace that you're a good, reputable seller that is going to make their customers happy and make the marketplace more money. The point is, you need to go slow at first and just list items into your store slowly and not a huge amount all at once. Also, the biggest problem with just listing a ton of items right out of the gate is that as a new seller, you really don't know what items to sell, which brings me to the fourth mistake that I see a lot of dropshippers making. Most dropshippers out there are simply listing the wrong items, the completely wrong items. Gone are the days when you could throw any items up for sale on eBay and they would probably sell. Not only does that not work, but it's also a huge waste. You see, we can easily get information about which items are already being successfully dropshipped onto different marketplaces. You could then go ahead and dropship those exact same items or really similar ones. So think about this. Why would you waste time listing up items for sale that no one wants to buy? Instead, you can sell items that people are already buying. This is the best way to start dropshipping for maximum efficiency. And I'll show you at the end of the video kind of a way to do that, exactly how to do that. But for now, just realize that you can avoid mistake number 4 by selling items that people actually want to buy. Mistake number 5 is taking way too long to fulfill your orders. Once someone purchases an item from you, you'll then need to make sure that the item is purchased from your supplier. This process is actually very simple. All you need to do is go to your supplier's website, add the item to your cart, and go through the checkout process. When it asks you for your billing info, use your address and your credit card, but enter in the buyer's address for the shipping address. That way the supplier will ship the item directly to your customer. It's very straightforward, but some people wait way too long to do this, and that's a very bad idea. If you wait too long to fulfill these orders, then the item might go out of stock before you get a chance to order it, or the price of the item might go up, resulting in you losing money. At best, the customer is going to get their item late or their tracking number late, and they may leave you some negative feedback, which of course is not a great idea. The best practice here is to either use a software that will automatically fulfill orders for you, or to manually fulfill your orders at least once a day. Do that and you could avoid mistake number 5, which is waiting too long to fulfill orders. Mistake number 6 is not uploading tracking numbers. A few days after you order the items that were purchased from you, your supplier will email you a tracking number. You can then add that tracking number to the order on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or wherever. That lets the customer know that the item is on its way, and it lets the marketplace know that you're actually sending the customer their item. There's really no excuse not to do this. It's so simple to do. But if you don't do it, you can expect a lot of angry messages from customers, negative feedback, item not received cases, and potentially even an account suspension. My recommendation is that once a day, you go through all of your emails with tracking numbers. You can set up filters for this so they all get added to one folder. Go through those once a day, and then you upload them to the marketplace. Easy. So please just upload your tracking numbers so you can avoid this mistake number 6. A very similar problem that can have catastrophic consequences is when sellers fail to respond to cases. Let's say a customer on eBay sends you a message to let you know that they never received their item. It's your job at this point to address this issue for the customer. This is your chance to solve their problem before it becomes your problem. Because if you don't solve their issue, they're going to open up a case with eBay called an item not received case. Now, if that happens, you still have time to fix the issue. You can either upload a tracking number to prove that the item was delivered, or refund the customer depending on the circumstances. However, if you take no action, then eBay might step in and close the case against you. You'll then receive a defect on your account, and defects are bad. If you get too many defects, your account can be penalized or it may even be shut down. So avoid defects. You might also get them for canceling orders for being out of stock or not responding to some return cases. So make sure you're staying on top of all of that, avoid getting defects, and you'll easily avoid this mistake. So far, we've gone over some very important mistakes to avoid as a dropshipper, but the most important thing you can do to proactively become a better dropshipper is to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. Now, you may be thinking that this is just some cheap ploy of mine and a sad attempt to finally get my silver YouTube play button. And you'd only be half right about that. You see, if you subscribe to my channel, then it's more likely that YouTube will show you more dropshipping videos that myself and others make. Watching these videos will help you learn more dropshipping tactics that you can then use in your own store. So if you're serious about doing this, you want to surround yourself with other people who are also serious and have already been successful with it. And YouTube is a great place to do that. So take a second, click that subscribe button, and that way you learn a lot more about dropshipping going into the future. Mistake number 9 is not using software. There is software you can use that can help you automate a lot of your dropshipping business for you. For instance, if you're dropshipping on Facebook Marketplace, you can use the Dropshipping Titans Marketplace Helper to quickly copy items from websites like Walmart and create a listing for it on Facebook Marketplace. This saves you from having to copy and paste everything yourself and saves you a ton of time. You can then use a software like AutoDS that will keep track of the price and availability of that item on Walmart. In fact, if you use that software for eBay, because it's also available for eBay, it will automatically update the price and availability of the item on your eBay store for you as those changes happen on Walmart. This saves you a ton of time and helps prevent you from selling items that are out of stock. in the past, there was some concern about connecting this software to your eBay store, but I no longer have these concerns. I've done it to my own stores and have had no issues with it. I actually think you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage by not using automation software like this. Even though this software is very powerful and can help you automate a lot of your dropshipping business, it does have its limits. In other words, there will continue to be some things, for instance, customer service, that has to be done by a human. Now, you may be thinking that you are the human that has to do all this, and for a while that will be true. But eventually, you will get to a point where you should think about getting someone to help you. Now, I'm not talking about hiring someone here in the United States that's gonna come to your house and work on your computer in your home office with you. We actually work with contractors from the Philippines called virtual assistants, or VAs. These VAs cost less than hiring a full-time employee here in the United States, but they can do everything to help us run our dropshipping stores for us. Product research, listing items, customer service, fulfillment, responding to cases, like everything. This isn't just a luxury that allows you to turn your dropshipping store into a truly passive business. It can do that, but it's also a resource that can help you grow your store faster and larger than you'll ever be able to do on your own. So when your store starts to grow, don't make mistake number 10, which is not hiring the help that you need. Okay, almost done here. Mistake number 11 is selling Vero items. eBay's verified rights owner program, or Vero, is made up of brands that you really cannot sell on eBay as a dropshipper. These brands have specifically reached out to eBay to tell them that, hey, we don't want sellers using our stock images and stock descriptions. And since those are technically copyrighted, they have the right to make that demand. What that means for you is if you try to sell one of those items from one of those brands, eBay will probably remove it. If that happens too many times, eBay will temporarily suspend your account for about a day. And if you keep listing more Vero items that get removed, they'll give you a longer suspension and then a longer one, and potentially they may suspend you forever. But fear not, the eBay software that I talked about before, AutoDS, it will actually alert you if you try to list one of these Vero items. If you get one of those alerts, don't list the item. That way you can easily avoid mistake number 11. Mistake number 12 is not pricing your items correctly. When you sell an item on eBay, you have to sell it high enough to cover 1, how much you have to pay your supplier for the item, 2, any shipping you may have to pay your supplier for the item, 3, sales tax you may have to pay when you buy the item, 4, eBay fees, and 5, of course, your profit. If you don't account for all of those, then not only are you not going to make a profit, you may even lose money. Luckily, if you use the software I mentioned a few times already, all of those calculations, they're done for you automatically. Or you could use a website like salecalc.com, and that will allow you to calculate the price yourself manually. Do either one of those, and you'll easily avoid this pretty simple mistake. Mistake number 13 is only selling on one marketplace. The two marketplaces that I'm the biggest fan of for dropshipping are eBay and Facebook Marketplace. Now, they both have their pros and cons. eBay dropshipping has been around for a long time, and I believe it will continue to be around for an even longer time. It's kind of like the bread and butter of many people's dropshipping businesses. On the other hand, Facebook Marketplace dropshipping is still pretty new, and we're not really sure where it's going, but not many people know about it, which means it's a huge opportunity for people who do get into Facebook Marketplace dropshipping now. By using both marketplaces, you'll be able to use the advantages of each of them and double your exposure. It just makes sense. In fact, I think it's a mistake not to sell on both of these marketplaces. Mistake number 14 is being impatient. Building a successful dropshipping store takes time. If you don't see success after a couple of days or even weeks, please do not give up. Most people, honestly, they will give up, but that's what makes it so much better for people like you and I that are willing to keep going. After working with thousands of dropshippers, I've actually found that the main thing that separates successful dropshippers from unsuccessful ones is that the successful ones patiently keep going no matter what. This does work, but you're not going to see success overnight. And if you're impatient, you're more likely to get frustrated and give up. But if you can hold in there, you'll see success that most people will never experience. And that brings us to the biggest mistake that I see people making when it comes to dropshipping. A mistake that is guaranteed 100% of the time to result in failure. And I see this time and time again. The biggest mistake you can make is to not even get started. After all, you cannot win if you're not even playing the game. So let's do something about that. Let's do something about that now. Let's make a commitment to actually get in the game, to play it, and to patiently march forward towards success. One last thing, I mentioned before that I would show you exactly how I find products to dropship that are almost guaranteed to sell. If you want to learn exactly how to do that, check out this video right here, and I'll see you there in just 1 second.